All right, good morning again. Hang on, YouTube is acting a little squirrely. Um, let me refresh my YouTube page here just because it's showing me as offline, and I'm assuming that because you guys are all right. Okay, all right, we're back. We're live. All right, thanks all for watching. This is episode number 16 of the Old Guy Farms single player challenge. And let's go ahead and get right into gameplay. We just basically wrapped up episode 15 of this game day just a few minutes ago. I guess according to some of my fans out there, maybe I took a little bit more than 5 minutes, but you know, uh, it's gotta take a bio break, coffee, and then do a few other things, and I had to turn my fan on, a few things like that. So basically, good morning once again to everyone that hung out there in the stream. Looks like we might have lost a couple, but I think we gained Mark, I think, in that break. So welcome, Mr. Mark DuPont. Thanks for stopping by. So we're going to go ahead and get started right into things here. We're going to start our day just like we do every day by running around that tree and coming over here and gathering our eggs. Um, and and then it gives us a little bit of time to think about what we're going to do next. Let's see, all the eggs are done. One more right there. All right, cool. All right, so we've got our eggs picked up. Let's just happen to see how many eggs we have in our thing here. Let's see. We haven't made a whole lot property income, so our greenhouses are really affecting here, but can't seem to load manure in the greenhouses because we've got wet crop situation, or at least that's what I'm thinking is going on. I haven't made any other changes to anything. It did cost us a little bit yesterday to get that soybean crop harvested, but that is okay. It takes money to make money is what they say. That's what I've always been told. So fertilization will only show up after you have plowed or cultivated or seeding with the chopped straw mod. I meant to say before. Okay, well, great. So I think I'm going to go just stick with my plan. Um, it may not be the right plan, but if we up, there we go. All right, we got to do maintenance on our old Ford here. That means we got to do maintenance on the other Ford as well. Come on. Um, these old Fords have to warm up a little bit before you can step on the accelerator pedal and get them to move. But that's okay. So we'll go ahead and move this guy here under the barn and turn him off and step out. And I think it is left Alt R to maintain. $343 to do that. Not bad at all. Considering that, possibly how expensive parts are to get parts for some of these older vehicles. And we're off again. All right, so we're gonna basically run over a chicken or two there, and in the process, we're gonna go ahead and hook back up to our seeder, and we are gonna go down and seed. We are going to go down and seed oilseed radish on the field that we just harvested, so that it sort of stays within the same the same cycle. Well, it won't be in the same cycle, but it'll be near the same cycle as the other fields. I'm going to see just how well soybeans treats us as far as selling, because I was kind of kicking myself the other day when we rented the harvester, and of course we had the whole rain situation that obviously was, I think, a bit unique, because I don't think Farmer Klein had as much rain in the fall as I did. But obviously that's, nothing is going to be, we can play things somewhat identical, if we choose to, but obviously the weather conditions are not going to obviously be the same for each of the participants or the challengers. But I think I had a little bit more wet weather than Farmer Klein did. and I haven't caught up to the other folks that are in the challenge to see what their falls look like yet. But I think we have a little bit of a wet weather crisis on our hands. And so get this guy started here, and then go ahead and hire a worker. Okay, what is a Scorpion King? A Scorpion King is this guy right here. That's probably going to need maintenance, so one day before maintenance is done. That is what a Scorpion King is. This is what I've been using to cut logs with, so that's kind of cool. Let's see how many days. He's got 2 days maintenance. I know we just did maintenance on him. This guy is going to also need maintenance because we bought these tractors at the same time. So let's go ahead and do maintenance on this Ford. Yeah, weather, like Farmer Klein says, weather is the variable, the big variable. It's the one thing that we can use the same equipment, we can do things sort of the same way as each other if we want to, but it's that weather that you cannot may not be the same. It might be the same, or it might be similar. Now this one is only $35 to maintain that. Okay, guess we got a discount on some parts, I suppose. TBG has rained 4 days out of 6 for autumn predicted. Wow, that's scary. But I had something very similar. I mean, I think I had maybe 3 days, and it was sort of this every other day. So, Farmer Klein, you weren't you weren't on the stream for the first half of you weren't on the stream for the first half of the first episode that I did this morning, but basically we did have to wait. Well, we didn't wait around. We were doing other things. We were doing our logging and stuff like that. But we had to wait. It was probably I don't know, 11 o'clock or maybe noon before we got out of the wet crop situation. So, you know, it is what it is, and you just make the most of it. You make the best of it, and you just do. That's what it's all about. And I will say that that's what I like about the Seasons mod. For those of you that were around for Farm Sim 15 that may have enjoyed the soil mod. Obviously, that was the big thing for 15 was the soil mod. But with the way that 15 was, the weather was not, you know, you could basically manipulate the weather if you wanted to. You could go into the game, and if you didn't like the weather forecast, you could basically exit out of the game and then come back in the game and keep doing that until you got a weather forecast that was favorable for you. And with 17, the weather is much more, I guess maybe static is the word that I'm looking for, maybe, meaning that, you know, the weather pretty much is going to, if it says it's going to rain tomorrow, regardless of what I do as far as exiting the game, saving the game, messing about and all that kind of stuff, it's going to rain tomorrow. Come on. There we go. Now, again, for some of you that are new to my channel, new to my stream with the challenge play and everything, I know quite a few of you have were on the earlier morning session. Using the auto-loading type trailers is perfectly legal. I think there's going to be a challenge that old guy farmer is looking into for a challenge, a future challenge where it may be multiplayer, and the use of auto-loading trailers and stuff will not be allowed. There's a stump right there that I drove over. I saw that stump actually. So it may not be allowed. Let's how long is timeout? Timeout for what? Come on, one more log. Nope. Come on, it's always the wrong log that you want to unload. Is always the guy that's just going to kind of teeter around up there. All right, I think we got it. We got one more here. Got him. All right. Nightbot timeout. Yeah, if you posted a link, and my apologies. I'm not trying to penalize anybody. Folks that regularly watch my stream, I don't have issues, but I pride myself on my G-rated channel, and I want people of all ages to be able to watch and not have to worry about getting spam and getting all that kind of stuff. So I do have Nightbot enabled. So my apologies. I don't mean to offend anyone, but just trying to protect the innocent, I suppose. Nightbot is an automated system that does different things, but one of the things that it does do is it helps streamers like myself basically provide a little bit of censorship to help protect against certain words and links and that kind of stuff. And so I know I'm certainly not a big enough streamer to necessarily maybe warrant it, but still I like to maybe just make sure that if we've got young people that are watching, that we don't have somebody that's spoiling it. And we have, I mean, even though I'm not a big streamer, I know that we had a guy that we had to deal with last week that was doing some stuff on the chat, and I think Mark is one of my moderators, and he took the big axe out and swung it and blocked that guy, banged that guy. So all right, our first load of logs, getting them up here for, it's been a little while since we have actually sold, since we sold logs. And there's good money in logs. Each load is worth anywhere from around 25 to probably $30,000 would probably be very, very high. That would probably be if every log was stacked nice and neat and you could get a whole bunch of them on here, but I think most of my loads have averaged in the $25,000 to $26,000 range. So basically do that 4 times and there's your grand. And our traffic drives awfully slow around these parts. Even though it's not Sunday, pretty much everybody drives as if it's Sunday drivers. And so we will just have to kind of get on this straightaway here as we make that corner a bit too tight and drag our trailer across that concrete beam, but that's okay. We'll get it repaired, and we'll just kind of speed along here and get back. And yeah, Nightbot hates everyone. If it becomes an issue, I will consider turning maybe the link feature off. I don't think that anybody would post anything. Yeah, I know speed limit's 15 here. I'm doing a little more than 35. It's a challenge, and you know, we're trying to take advantage of every second, because every second sort of counts around here. All right, I think we've got some more logs over here. Got a whole bunch of logs over here, actually. This is everything that we were cutting when we were you know, I got really lucky just now. I just saw that. I just noticed up there that it said oilseed radish 67%. I didn't even check. Thankfully, that's what we had seeded just a day or so before, but I had not checked that it was actually oilseed radish in the thing. So that could have been costly for us. If I had not had that set for oilseed radish, we would have possibly planted soybeans or something else and wasted it. So what's everybody got planned for their weekends? You guys tell me what you got going on. And I know some of you, your Saturdays or your Saturday may be almost over with. If you're from the UK or Europe or someplace like that, obviously your Saturday, it's already Saturday afternoon for you. But for the rest of you guys, what are you doing today? What are you doing tomorrow? Going to get any virtual farming done? I know Farmer Klein's probably going to crank out about another 12 episodes. He is just a machine at this challenge. And we have to be careful because not necessarily part of the challenge, but I guess by my count, Old Guy Farmer has tipped, that I know of, he's tipped his truck in his log trailers once that I know of. And of course, he was pulling a tandem at the time. I have tipped the trailer twice, so we're essentially tied, I suppose, in the number of times that we have tipped our thing. But if you go around the corner too fast, it's quite easy to roll this rig. And of course, he did it, and he actually rolled both of his. But now he was smart, and he went after his telehandler, and essentially was able to ride it up and get it going. The first time I rolled it right there at the turn when you're coming into the sawmill, and I was able to get it to flip back up without losing any logs. And then the second time that it happened, it was just after I was reading chat, which is a good way to sort of lose focus of the game. And I was reading chat and went around the corner too fast, and it rolled. And I did not know of the trick. Mark DuPont filled me in on it later. But if you do roll a log trailer, if you empty it on the high side, basically your logs will just pile out there on the road, and then you can reload. But I emptied it on the low side, and they basically went under the pavement, went under the asphalt. And of course, that was, I sort of commented and said that was our contribution to the Giants gods. So we gave them about $25,000 worth of wood that we did not get paid for. So maybe they'll be good to us. Let's see, he was on Lazy Day Staying Cool. Okay, that works, and I can certainly understand that. It has been rather warm here. We've had several days in a row of mid-90s here in Denver, for those of you that do Fahrenheit. and just miserable conditions. We had a little bit of a cool down yesterday. We had some rain, and that was obviously nice. That cooled things down pretty quick. We went from like 90 something, 92 to like 70 pretty quick. It was a nice rain shower. Yeah, what I ended up doing when it flipped over in the yard, when it flipped over at the sawmill, I was basically able to sort of turn my steering wheel, and I sort of reversed and pulled forward, reversed and pulled forward several times, and it managed to flip it back over. But it did not work that way the other time, and I really didn't know what else to do. And before I could actually, before Mark could actually tell me his little secret, I had already started emptying the trailer, because I figured, well, either I'm going to lose the logs, but I need to basically, if I reset it, I would definitely lose the logs. And so I took a gamble, and of course the gamble I lost because I emptied it on the short side, or on the low side of the trailer. I think it left one log for us, just to sort of tease us and say, well, I took the majority of your logs. I took 99% of your load, but here's a stick that you can load back on the trailer and try again. Oh, we knocked that street sign down. We're definitely keeping the highway department, the local road crews that are responsible for sticking up road signs. We're definitely keeping them employed here in Goldcrest Valley. Of course, I've seen a few others take down a few signs as well, so I don't know what the count is there. Probably doesn't matter. And let's sell some more wood. So as for me, I've got a little bit of a busy schedule for today. I've got some more honeydew projects. My wife is pretty good at making lists and assigning me tasks, and so I've got some things that she wants me to get done around the house. She's going to have surgery again in a week and a half. Well, no, yeah, week and a half. And so she's wanting to get a few things done, because she realizes that it's probably going to be 3 or 4 weeks after her surgery before she's going to feel like doing much and helping out. And so some of the tasks that we're going to be doing later today, will require both of us. And so we're going to get those things done, get that stuff out of the way. And then she's going to have her surgery. Well, it's okay. You know, it's kind of I think it's kind of what we're here for, right? And certainly don't mind. Last weekend I built a step on our back porch. We had basically redone our deck on the back of our house last year, and I tore off the wood 2x material, and basically we went with that Trex, sort of that plastic deck material, and that's basically low maintenance, no maintenance kind of situation. As I get older, I sort of like the low maintenance, no maintenance kind of stuff, kind of things, because there's enough to do. Our house was built in 1976, I believe, so it's starting to reach that point to where that things that are starting to get 30, 40 years old, starting to wear out. Things that need to be done. Toilets have to be rebuilt, all the innards and everything, and then just all that kind of stuff. So So lots to do. So yeah, so tore the deck off last summer, and then got everything put back down, but never got around to putting a step in because basically it was fall, and I think it started snowing or something, and had to do something else. But in any event, let's see if maybe we can restack this and get all this stuff on here. Are you going to do, let's see, Skotsky said, I never say to my partner that I'm bored as she makes a list of things to keep me busy. Yeah, that we'll definitely do that as well. And then Jamie Burt says, are you going to do a series on the new Platinum map when it comes out? Yeah, most likely. You know, of course, the thing about it is anytime, you know, it was sort of this way when Farm Sim 15, when the gold edition of Farm Sim 15 came out. You know, everybody did Let's Plays on Sosnovka, but you know, I do this for fun, so I don't necessarily think about, well, what will, you know, what'll sort of generate the most views to my channel, because this is not my full-time job. This is really just an extension of the hobby. It's an extension of my gameplay, or whatever, however you want to refer to that. Go ahead and fall off, and I'll get you back on here. But that's all it is. So yeah, most likely I'm going to do I'll do a series on the new map, playing around with sugarcane. Of course, if it's sort of like you know, with the gold, I believe it was the gold edition. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, if your memory is a little better than mine, but I think it was the gold edition that we were introduced to that fancy sugar beet harvester. That was in or was that in 17? I don't know. Gosh, I get confused with stuff. I got so much stuff rattling around in my brain that, you know, it's hard to remember. It's hard to remember from one day to the next, or one game to the next, what's new, what's old. Been seeing a lot of, obviously, the sort of switching gears here. I've been seeing a lot of activity on YouTube recently in the last few days from some folks that I follow, that obviously the new ATS beta is out, American Truck Simulator beta is out, that has the doubles and triples. So that's probably coming not too long from now. I'm kind of excited about the doubles anyways. Don't know what the parking strategy is going to be like for those, but I am looking forward to kind of seeing that and having the ability to pull doubles, just because that's quite popular here in the US. I think some states don't allow it, but here in Colorado, we see a lot of doubles and triples, a lot of FedEx. We see a lot of FedEx pulling triples, FedEx Ground, UPS, stuff like that. Again, for those types of operations, it probably makes sense, because they can just, you know, pull in somewhere and drop a trailer and either pick up an empty or just continue on, whatever. It'll be interesting if they make it seasons ready, considering that's probably a good thing to sort of speculate about, if we want to spend some time speculating on something, is that with the seasons mod basically winning the first place in the Giants mod contest, you would think, or at least I would think, if I were a project manager for Giants, or someone in a decision-making capacity at Giants, I would probably say, you know, this was the winner of our contest, and so as a result of that, because obviously it's very popular, I'm sure that they know how many downloads have been done since they've put it on the Giants Mod Hub. I would hope that they would be able to track stuff like that, and they would go ahead and make that map seasons ready, you know, for PC, obviously, because I'm sure that the platinum expansion DLC will come out for consoles, and And clearly it wouldn't need to be Seasons ready for consoles since Seasons isn't available for consoles. But anyway, that is something to think about and speculate and maybe hope that they will do that. So we don't have dry crop situation anymore. So let's see. We don't need to do maintenance on this truck, but I will go ahead and well, it's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But maybe we'll do something else. Maybe we'll. I'm sure Farmer Klein is going to be. I'm sure it just maybe it makes him worried the more logging I do, because that's obviously our biggest money generator is doing logging, and we're going to still do quite a bit of it. But we will go back to the main farm, and we will pull back the hired worker and that tractor and seeder, get it back up to the main farm. So that'll take a few minutes of real time and like an hour. Well, not quite an hour of game time, but time does go by fast on when you're playing with Seasons at times 15 speed and all that good stuff. So here we are back at the ranch. We'll turn off the headlights, and then we'll just tab and grab this guy, fold him up, and drive him on back. Yeah, and that's also a good discussion point. And I just want to thank everybody for watching. Folks, I'm running a contest. You can get more information about it down there. I think a lot of the folks that are in the second hour were around for the first, so I won't go into all the details, but I am going to be doing a giveaway for 3 copies of the Farm Sim 17 Platinum Expansion DLC that'll be coming out in November. I will be doing the drawing on November the 6th. You can enter my drawing by simply being a subscriber and then following instructions down below, and I will give out the word of the day here in just a moment. I waited until the very end of the stream in the first hour to give that word of the day, and my apologies, because normally I try to give it in about the 75% range of the episode, and I failed to do that. Anyone know what map this is? Yeah, this is a edit version of Goldcrest Valley by Old Guy Farmer. This is a challenge map that we are participating on, playing with Seasons, and playing it with Seasons set for 15x speed and 6 game days per season. So I tell you what, let's do the realistic thing. While this is a challenge, and while obviously we want to try to make as much money as we possibly can, we should also, and because this is what's fun for me as well, is sort of, doing things a little realistic and such as that. So, my father taught me as a young person to always make sure I cleaned up the tools and everything before I stored them after use. So I earned a lot of money. Well, a lot of money back in the late 70s, early 80s. Mowing grass in the little community that I grew up in. I charged $10 a yard, and that included mowing, running the weed eater, and sweeping the sidewalks and bagging the grass if I needed to bag the grass. And always would wash my equipment and everything before I put it away. So since this is really, we're not going to need this for a while, we're going to go ahead and get this guy parked up, and let's see, where should we park him? Let's just go ahead and park him under here. Because we're not going to need this guy until most likely spring. Well, obviously we won't need him until spring, because we have went ahead and seeded everything in oilseed radish, and so that's just that. All right, Of course, just now that I've watched it and parked it, of course, there'll be a valid reason, like the fact that we're maybe going to buy a field or something soon, and we'll want to do that. So I think also what we'll go ahead and do is, while we're just in this tractor here, we'll go ahead and back it up to our cultivator, and maybe we will sort of get these fields cultivated. If I can back up here. I have an issue backing and talking at the same time. And those of you that watch my farm sim videos or watch my truck sim videos, you know that. So let me just shut up. And we'll get that guy connected. And let's just make sure we're getting that level of fertilization, which we should be, and we are. Okay. All right, let me tell you what, let me just save it. All right. So what are we going to do here? We need to get our telehandler because we need to take care of the greenhouses, because we had wet crop. And I guess that affected our abilities to be able to load manure in our shovel. Either that or we got something else that's going on. So let's see, for this challenge, what did you say before? Modded gold, anyone know? Yeah, okay, so you were just answering that question. Jamie says, have you seen any videos on the up and coming ProMods 2.2 for ETS2? No, I haven't, but I do know that they're working on that. I like ProMods. I think that I wish that we had is there, hang on, maybe there's something in the shovel that is, I don't know what would be in the shovel that wouldn't be manure. Looks like there was straw in the shovel. Maybe somehow or another straw ended up in the shovel when the harvester went by. And maybe that's what was keeping us from getting this thing filled. So maybe this thing doesn't really care if it's wet or not. Oh well, I wish I would have looked at that before we wasted some time, because I have a feeling our greenhouses, yep, 0% manure. So, oh well, that is a lesson learned, you know, lesson learned. But that's all right. They'll fire back up here soon enough, and all will be good. Oh, there you go, Farmer Klein. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to steal that. Farmer Klein says you can't back up because you're always looking forward in life. Yeah, I do try to live my life being positive. My gosh, I know that is hard to do on even the best of days sometimes. But you know, it is. A friend of mine a long time ago, maybe someone that I could consider almost a mentor of mine, especially he was pretty instrumental in my IT start, getting started in the IT world. I followed him around from a few different jobs, and actually he is one of the reasons why I ended up moving to Colorado. But he more or less told me one time that, you know, if you can't think positive about things, and if you can't always try to approach things with positive mind, positive attitude, that kind of stuff, then it's really not worth doing. And that is really so true. And I would say that that's one of the things that, you know, looking on the positive side of life and all that kind of stuff, it's important. All right, so one more greenhouse to fill, and we'll get our greenhouse production back up again, and we'll try not to make this mistake again. It happens. And as much as I am honestly trying to win this challenge, because I think if I were to say to you all that I don't have an interest in winning, I think that, you know, you guys wouldn't maybe have an interest in watching. And I am trying to do everything in my power to do the right things by trying to save money where I can and all that kind of stuff. And that was one of the reasons why I chose not to bale the straw, because I thought it would, I didn't think that the value add would be high enough for us to go through the trouble of doing that and then hauling it off to the sell point and all the time that we might lose there. So I chose not to do that. But yeah, I am trying to win. I realize it's going to be tough because you know, guys like Farmer Klein. Of course, I'm guessing that Old Guy Farmer is not technically in the challenge to win it. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but assuming that he is the one that's ponying up the giveaway, and obviously the giveaway for the challenge itself is a copy of that Platinum Edition expansion pack. So considering that he's ponying that up for us, I would assume that he's not going to award that to himself, and that whoever, even if he were to win, whoever maybe comes in second place is gonna win it, or maybe he's not even considering that he's playing the challenge for the challenge itself. Maybe he's just going through the motions just to enjoy and having fun. But that's the primary reason why I'm doing this, is because it's fun. And so when it stops being fun, then, you know, that's when it's time to go and change gears and do something else. Farmer Klein says that's why you like flight sim so much, no backing up a plane. Well, that's true. I mean, you do have reverse obviously not mechanically reverse operations. There is obviously pushback, but that's someone else doing it for you. My biggest challenge there is just trying to figure out which direction the back of the plane needs to be pointing and which direction the front of the plane needs to be pointing, based on taxiway assignments and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you bring up a good point. I do enjoy flight sim, and there is no backing up. So 4:30. I mean, as you can tell, folks, time flies when you are having fun. The challenge, playing at 15x speed and everything, is just, I think while we've got the tractor rolling and everything, we will go ahead and just go fill up the water tanker, because no doubt we will need to water something or another in the next game day or two. Probably the sheep will need water next, and then of course we need to maintain our see, I can't back and talk at the same time. And then obviously we'll need to water the greenhouses again. I always say the safest part of a plane is the back, as they don't crash backwards into mountains. That is true. That is true. Now, of course, if the tail section breaks off, there's nobody to necessarily control that. So that can be kind of dangerous as well. But oh well. All right, we'll just park this right here, and let's see. I suppose we could go ahead and put down. Some manure if we wanted to. We'd have to buy the manure thing. I think it might be in our best interest to let's see, how much does this 8-meter spread, 8,000 liter capacity. Let's see how much this guy costs to lease, $968. I think I will wait a day because I don't think that we can get all this oilseed radish cultivated in. And even if we need to wait until spring to do that, that's fine too, because obviously we've got more rain that's expected soon. And so let's kind of see how much more time this guy has here. I think he's on his last thing. If you guys if you've picked up a few of my streams but haven't watched, if you didn't watch episode number 14, if you didn't watch episode number 14, then you know that, or then you don't know that we expanded these fields. We expanded this field here, made it wider, and then we also expanded this field here, made it wider, and then expanded the other one. So basically, we expanded all 3 fields and made it wider, and all is good there. So she's doing a fine job of doing that. What if you put oilseed back on the field at another fertilization level? True, could be, but I'm really, I invested in the manure thing, and I kind of want to do that because I haven't really see the problem with the seasons mod, and we're just going to ride along with her here until she gets done with this row. The problem with the seasons mod is unless you sort of go in and cheat in some money and cheat in your equipment and everything, especially if you're only planning on playing a map 1 year, then what ends up sort of happening is it takes so long before you actually get manure. Now, Farmer Klein, I will admit that it was you, good buddy, that turned me onto this manure sell point, this manure heap sell point. So I did not know about that before you introduced that to me. But with the seasons mod, because obviously you start the seasons mod off in spring, and I have just never, Lawfolds was the only map that I played more than 1 season, and I guess we'll chop some wood, more than 1 season, and so it just takes a while to accumulate manure, and so I don't get to do that. I don't get to do the slurry stuff and all that stuff very often. And so I'm kind of looking forward to it. I understand that it's gonna take some time and everything to do that. It's gonna take some money to do it, but like I said, I'm kind of looking forward to it. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Jamie, no worries. 3 a.m. Go to bed. Go to bed. And thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Some of these trees are just too small. I guess that tree that I just cut down was probably a bit too small. But every log is worth money, so. In theory, Farmer Klein, I think it would work. If you can, especially if you can get your harvest done like I did in the first game day of fall, taking a chance and going ahead and doing it early. The field is not going to, the crop on the field is not going to get any more, the yield is not going to get any higher, even though it only shows in that light yellow color. It's still 100% if you check it with the game extension mod. Of course, we don't use the game extension mod in this challenge, but if you on one of your other maps, if you check it when it's in that yellow stage, it'll show as 100%. So in theory, I think that it would work and be kind of interesting. I don't know how the cost analysis and everything would work out, what would be cheaper, and obviously I'll be having to pay for the manure, because obviously we don't have it free, but I'm guessing if you had the resource, if you had the manure resource, either by way of pigs or cows, then perhaps, you know, oilseed radish for the first stage of fertilization, and then manure for the second, fell off the thing, manure for the second stage and third stage if you play with the manure mod. Now I don't know, you know, I'm supposing that the manure mod, the way that it works, I'm supposing that may not be 100% realistic, since it's given us the ×2 by virtue of spreading the manure and then cultivating or plowing it in. In real life, I don't know if it would actually be that benefit, but all right, Farmer Klein, thanks for watching, and yeah, play with your children. That stuff is what matters the most, and I'll try to catch your stream if you stream later tonight. All right, we're gonna come on back down this side of the road here, and we're just kind of working. And picking up trees in sort of a general area as we move around, the map. And we sort of started at the main farm because we had the need to get some of those trees down so that we could, basically we could expand those fields and get some trees out of our way and stuff like that. And I left that stump way too long. So now it's really just about moving around the map and taking some trees out and trying to do as much as possible, trying to sell as many logs as possible. We've got good, you know, pretty much from here on out, or at least for this year, for the first year, our crops are harvested. Our fields have oilseed radish either planted in them, or we're now in the process of cultivating that oilseed radish in to get that first level of fertilization. So whether or not we decide to spread manure, and I would kind of wait until, because if we rent the manure spreader, it would probably be best to do that where we can get to all 3 fields. I'm sorry, all 4 fields, because we do own that other field down there now. And we probably need to think about whether or not it makes sense to buy another field. Now that we have turned our combine in, I suppose if we'd have maybe been thinking about it and been smart about it, I suppose we would have perhaps maybe bought a field that we could harvest with the typical grain header and go ahead and harvest that. We've only done missions a couple of times. Now part of the challenge is you can do a mission a day if you want to. I've done 2 missions so far with this challenge, and this is episode number 16, and that reminds me I need to do the word of the day. The word of the day is oilseed radish. So I know that's 3 words, but basically it's the key word, the code word, or whatever. So the word for episode 16, or the words for episode 16, is oilseed radish. And if you want to abbreviate that when you confirm that back with me via email, you can just write it as OSR, oilseed radish. But really, what I was saying is that with the exception of maybe if we get all of the fields cultivated tomorrow, if we get all that oilseed radish cultivated tomorrow with hired worker, then we could consider maybe renting the manure spreader, and that way we could spread manure on all fields. What's going on here? We could spread manure on all fields at the same time, the same game day, take advantage of the rental, and then see how that works out. So let me just let me tab over and see what our worker, she's still working. Okay. It's kind of hard to cut logs in the dark. It's a little easier in the daytime for me. I'm pretty sure we're on it. We're around it. Yeah, we are. But as we have found out, sometimes it just doesn't want to cut. You'll have to approach it from another angle, and you can get it usually to go. So we'll try that. We'll cut a couple more trees down, and then we'll start. It'll probably be time to head back to the main farm. We probably need to actually, we're going to cut down one more tree. If we can get this to cut down this tree, and then we need to drive this guy back to, the main farm because we got to do maintenance on it. Yeah, we'll have to do maintenance on it before the next game day. And I don't have the portable toolbox mod just because, well, it costs money, and it would probably be the right thing to do. Let's see, do we have strobes on this? Oh, we don't have strobes on this. That's odd. What is that? Oh, that's a fire extinguisher. I suppose after you calculate the time that it's going to take us to drive this to the farm and then back out to the job site, maybe the toolbox mod would have paid for itself, but you got to carry the toolbox mod around with you, so we would have to load it into something. The fastest thing that we have is a semi truck, and we can't haul anything. I don't think you can put the toolbox mod inside of the truck. So we would end up probably driving it over here with the telehandler. And I think you get my point that we probably might as well just drive this thing back and do the maintenance on it at the farm, and that'll be fine. So obviously maintenance has to be done on vehicles every 12 days, and because we didn't buy the Ponzi until I guess maybe the third or fourth game day, maintenance is just not due on it. So actually that worked out quite well because we did use, well, let's see, we sold the combine that came with the map on the first day. We did use the JCB, we used the Sammy for a couple of game days. Then we sold those because those were actually more valuable, and we picked up the Fords. We picked up the Fords like on game day 3 probably, and they just had to have maintenance done on those this morning. And so the Ponzi was purchased around game day 4 or 5, and so now it needs maintenance. And that is all fine and good. So let's see. We'll park this guy here. What we will do is we will go ahead and fuel her up. So I can put the spot. I have heard this is the first time that I've actually had to fuel anything up, and I think Farmer Klein mentioned that the sweet spot on the fuel tank is very precise, but it looks like it's precise enough the way that we park that that's fine. And let's go ahead and turn off the headlight, and we'll just park this guy here. We'll do maintenance on it tomorrow because that way it'll reset our time then. So Midnight Wolf says, hello everyone, what a morning on the farm today. We had our first 2 calf heifers, gave birth to a set of twins. All right, well, congratulations. Congratulations. All right, so we are winding down things. So let's go ahead and get in our telehandler. And again, we don't necessarily have to worry about, as I find the right gear here, we don't have to necessarily worry about sheep productivity in the wintertime, just simply because they don't produce wool in the wintertime. So their percentage or their productivity being slightly down doesn't really affect us that much. But it's kind of good to be in the habit of cleaning up after the animals sort of twice a day, because that way whenever it does come back around to spring, we won't be like, okay, well, I'm not used to doing this, and so we'll lose productivity. And that, obviously, spring is when we want to be in high productivity with these guys, because that's when they produce the most wool, is in the springtime. And let's see if they'll take any of this grass. We haven't been able to empty grass back into the sheep enclosure for a few. Yep, okay. There we go. That's good. And I was thinking I was losing my mind on a map that I was playing not too long ago, and I couldn't get the grass after I picked it up at the sheep farm. I forget, maybe it was Old Stream. I couldn't get the grass to empty into the trough, and I thought I was losing my mind. I thought there was something broken with the map. But if you top their food up, if you give them 100% of food, which obviously you normally do that, then basically until they consume some of that food down, you can't basically empty their spilt food back into the trough until they empty that down. So that is what is the problem there if you experience that. All right, so it's coming up on 9 o'clock, so we have fulfilled the obligations of this game day. So she is still going, or maybe he, I don't know who's driving now. It's a guy. Okay, that's cool. That's we'll call him we'll call him Billy Bob, because Billy Bob is my dear friend from school, from grade school, and Billy Bob has been one of my characters in my Let's Play series. And we'll just go ahead and let Billy Bob go home early. But Billy Bob was a friend of mine in school, and there's a little story maybe I'll share one of these days about Billy Bob. But he is one of my characters that I use in my Let's Plays, and so probably if I had actually got square and straight on this field, I probably could have done all that in one pass. So now I'm going to have to drive back there and cultivate that spot that I missed, but that's okay. All the challenges of working at night. Now we could, if we wanted to, we could go 24 hours a day if we wanted to, but my voice is getting tired, and we've already done 3 all-nighters this particular game year already. And so I am just trying to play a little bit more realistic, in the sense that, people just can't go many days in a row without sleep. And so we're just going to finish this up here. Get this all cleaned up. If I were to leave this, my OCD would be screaming at me. All right, fold this guy up, and we'll go ahead and park her back under the barn. And then tomorrow, in what will be episode number 17, we obviously will cultivate the oilseed radish over in the field to our left. And then maybe if the other field has reached the first stage of growth, then we'll do that as well. And then we can contemplate on how we want to approach the rest of our strategy and everything, the rest of our game days. So all right, we're 21:30. We need to do our eggs. Do eggs twice a day. There is a capacity to the amount of eggs that can be stored over here, and so basically the chickens will produce more eggs than what can be stored here if you don't collect your eggs twice a day. So I collect them in the mornings and I collect them in the evenings before we end the stream. Some eggs are more of a challenge to get picked up than others. So there we are. So we will go ahead and click escape, and we will save the gameplay just in case something goes horribly wrong when we do the fast forward. And then we'll do Alt N, and that is the built-in seasons mod option to skip night. And we're resting for another day. It is now 6:01 in the AM. I'm going to save again really quick, and we will just take a look and see here. So growing, so I guess we could go ahead and cultivate this. So we can do these 2 fields tomorrow, 12 and 24, cultivate that oilseed radish in. That should bring us up to the first level stage, and then we can consider whether we're going to do the other stuff. So there we go. So thank you all so much, folks, for watching. We'll go ahead and quit the game and quit it without saving since we had already saved there. And then thank you all so much for watching. This is going to be the last stream for this morning. I may stream this evening, so if you are a subscriber, you should get a notification of that. Don't forget the word of the day for this game day is oilseed radish, OSR. And so if you have the time, you can go back through all the other previous episodes and dig those word of the days out and then enter the contest. The contest, I'll be doing the drawing on November the 6th. That's a Sunday. And I'll be giving away 3 copies of the new Farm Sim 17 Giants Farm Sim 17 expansion DLC pack, and that'll be done on November the 6th. And of course, the DLC officially releases somewhere around the 14th or 15th of November. And I appreciate you all for watching. Do be a subscriber, though, if you're going to enter the contest. That is a requirement. So be a subscriber and go ahead and click the like button on this, and I will get this video up, get it processed and everything, and get it available for the archive later today, so that if you, obviously if you've missed it, then you wouldn't be actually hearing me say this right now, but if you have missed it, you'll have the opportunity to watch it. So thank you all again so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. If I don't stream tonight, I won't be streaming until probably Monday evening. So have a very blessed Sunday, and I will see you and talk to you when I see you and talk to you. Take care, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.